Hey everybody, my name's Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about why I believe that Generation X will rule in a post-apocalyptic world. And I've got several reasons for that. But to start off, I actually got to thinking about this because of just a random comment made in our comment section on another video, and I'd like to give that subscriber credit because that's what sparked my idea. He didn't suggest this video, but he should get credit for partial inspiration. Username at Joel Parrott, and let me read you directly exactly what he says here. I in no way in caps, want any of it to happen at all. At all in caps, talking about the apocalypse. But if shit does pop off and we can't stop it, I do get the strange feeling we will have fun, meaning Gen X. And he just put it so perfectly there because that's how I felt my whole life. I'm not wishing for the apocalypse or anything, but I'm not afraid of it. It's not something I fear. I know it's a definite possibility with the things that go on, but I just don't fear it. And I think that a lot of us Gen Xers can relate to that statement he put down there. We don't wish for it to happen by no means. We're not psychopaths. We're not completely insane. But if it did, we'd make the most of it. We'd do our best, right? Where a lot of people, the vast majority of other people, will be broken down into blithering, crying. They would just give up on life. It would just be, to us, it would be an adventure. I mean, seriously, we have been, if you're anything like me, you have been daydreaming and just thinking about different scenarios from watching movies and stuff your entire life since we were kids. What would it be like to be Mad Max? What would it be like to be John Connor? What would it be like to do whatever? You know what I mean? To live in these post-apocalyptic worlds, to test yourself. Could I survive? Could I survive like John Rambo did in First Blood? Out there with an old tarp and a knife. We asked ourselves that our entire lives. So I don't think we're afraid of it as a rule. Now, I don't think I'm afraid of it. Maybe I would be when it actually did pop off. I don't know. I doubt it. Seriously doubt it. But I can't. I don't know. I've lived enough life to know that you don't know yourself until you're in the situation. You don't know how you'll react until you're in that situation. Now, I have confidence that I will react in a calm and confident way, but I know there's always a chance that, maybe I'll be the one to melt down. I don't know. I'm not positive because I haven't been there yet. And then there's a quote from a movie called Lawless. It stars Tom Hardy and Shia LaBeouf. But in this movie, Tom Hardy tells him that it's not the violence that sets people apart. It's the distance they are willing to go. That quote has always stuck with me. It's the distance they are willing to go. Anybody can do violence, but how far are you willing to go for whatever you're doing? Is it a belief? Is it to protect your family? Is it protect your food supply? Whatever, right? How far are you willing to go compared to the other person who's against you in that situation? And that's true. I believe that statement is true because it's the distance you're willing to go. And history has taught us that because a lot of times it's the Roman Republic back in the day, they had a hard time with the Gauls. The countries around them, I mean, they were known for just smashing other countries. They would just beat them down and take their land. But then they ran into the Gauls. And I think they eventually did kind of take, claimed that Germania as their land, but I don't know if the Gauls ever really accepted that, but the Gauls fought them for decades. The Gauls would not give up. The Gauls fought them tooth and nail. I mean, these were savages with spears and, bronze swords and stuff, and beat the most advanced army, ever assembled at the time. And they just gave them all they wanted. But the Roman Republic was so strong at the time, so rich, that they could just keep bringing up new armies and sending them over there. But still, it took just forever for them to do it. But that's a testament to the distance that you're willing to go, because the Gauls just slaughtered Romans for a long time. Now, the Romans killed Gauls too, but for what it was, I mean, nobody else put up that kind of fight against the Romans, rather. Now, except for Hannibal, but he come across and he was a beast. But he was just a tactical genius. But there's that, and the fact that it's always been on our mind at some level, somewhere, because we've been watching these post-apocalyptic and apocalyptic movies and TV shows and all this stuff. It was beat into our brains from the time we were little kids that, the apocalypse was coming. So at some level in your conscious or subconscious or somewhere, you've always been aware that you may need to survive in a post-apocalyptic world. And I think we're really the only generation to adopt that, to have that indoctrinated into us. The older generations didn't. Yeah, they had the threat of nuclear war, and that's horrible. I'm not taking that away from them. But they didn't have all these movies about Terminators and all this stuff as little kids. And that, when you're little kids, that's when you're indoctrinated. That's when you're soaking everything up around you in the world, and you're forming who you're going to be. And all that stuff sticks with you. And all that post-apocalyptic, apocalyptic, fighting against these weird things, aliens and machines and monsters and viruses and all, that all stuck with us throughout our lives. And so we've at least been mentally prepared our entire lives. At some level of consciousness, we're prepared in the back of our minds, hey, if stuff does pop off, what am I going to do? And living in Florida with these hurricanes, and we've got one passing by us right now, we've got to maintain a level of preparedness anyway, because we're liable to lose power for a few weeks. So I'm constantly thinking about that anyway. Which, as far as me personally goes, so if I order some prepper stuff and my wife asks me what I'm doing, I'll tell her that it's hurricane season. I can't tell her it's zombie season, though she'll think I'm crazy. But when I tell her it's hurricane season, she says, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. So, so living in Florida does have its advantages. It's not all, alligators and hurricanes and tourists. So we were kind of like raised, conditioned to be, doomsday preppers on one level or another. Not calling all Gen Xers doomsday preppers, but it's some part of our mind back there, we're sort of ready for it. You know what I mean? And I believe that that's the most important part. Because anybody can, go out and buy some MREs and some bottled water and call themselves a prepper, but that's not, it's the mental toughness, the mental preparation that is more important than anything you could buy. Because when it happens, and we've all seen the movies, you're going to be lonely, you're going to be bored, all these other things. These are the aspects of it that are going to really get to people. Other people are going to come and take you've got to be prepared to defend yourself. So these are the aspects that mental toughness and mental preparation, mental resilience, are going to come into play. And that's where Gen X is just the way we were raised. I mean, we were raised in a way that made us tough. The world forged us into these tough little nuggets of, callousness that other people don't understand. Only us. We relate to each other. We know, we just can look at each other and dude, say one word, dude, and we know what's up. We know what's going on in each other's head. We know the other people don't. They don't understand, and that's okay. But if something popped off on a large scale like that, those other people wouldn't understand how to survive. They wouldn't understand to what degree, to what distance they would have to go in order to survive. Not just to stockpile crap and then live in a bunker, but to protect and defend yourself and your family from others. So that's the kind of stuff that we've been, just ruminating around in the back of our minds for the last, 30, 40 years. And these people, other people haven't even thought about it. I think that would play a big part into something that happened like that. And just last night, literally, I watched the original Red Dawn again for the probably 20 or 30th time in my life. I watched it again. All that hate's gonna burn you up, kid. Keeps me warm. Love that guy. That kid, after he drinks that deer's blood, he turns into an animal. So, and then the toughness. Toughness toughness would have to have a large part to play in a scenario like that. In any wartime scenario, but in a survival situation, toughness plays a large part. Because if you're gonna lay down and cry and moan to yourself that you can't do it, and you're gonna die and all this stuff, if you have that mindset, then you are gonna die. I could just see somebody laying down and saying that to a Gen Xer, and they would be like, okay, go ahead, do it. I gotta go. I got stuff to do. I got other stuff to do besides die. I'm not gonna sit here and die with you. But you go ahead if that's what you feel like doing. Get it done. I'm gonna get some other stuff done. I'm gonna be living. And that toughness, that mental and physical toughness, both, sets us apart from other generations. I mean, they would get all upset if the internet went out for a couple of days. You know what I mean? If the power went out for a couple of days, they wouldn't know what to do with themselves. They would just get depressed and whatever, and want to talk about their feelings. Where we would be trying to figure out how to conserve food and water and keep everybody as comfortable and as happy as possible, and survive this shit. So, and that's where Gen X is. That's what Gen X is. We're survivors. We're resilient. Knock us down, we get back up. And you would need that in that situation. We wouldn't take a whole lot of shit from other people. I'm not gonna sit down in the mud and cry with you and commiserate with you about how bad we both feel the same. We're both miserable, but I'm gonna ignore it and get shit done. You're gonna focus on it, make it your entire world, and get nothing done. So I can't. A lot of people would fall to the wayside like that. Just their lack of toughness would, that would weed out quite a few of the non-Gen Xers. And I'll leave you there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by clicking on the thanks button. If you do that, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. You can also support the channel by buying me a cup of coffee, and I'll put that link down in the description. If you're interested in Gen X gear, I'll put that link down in the description as well. We got some pretty cool stuff over there. I think you'll find it interesting. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments. I really enjoy doing those episodes. They're some of my favorite things. So I appreciate that. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I will see you on the next one.